Okay, so this is a screen grab from one of my friend's videos, but this is the ranch house at Dallas Divide along the RGS, and this is in October of uh, 2022. And my friend Mike McCarville is doing a lot of prototype RGS and DNRG structures. He's a member of my club in Denver. And so anyway, this is one of his kits, and I decided I wanted to use it as a ranch house in another location on my layout. But there's the prototype. And so I had a couple of things for wanting to do it this way. This was a new type of construction, laser construction, and also I was seeking, because you can't really find Floquil depot buff anymore for uh, DNRG buildings. So my wife and I went on, we bought out about every yellow craft paint and hobby paint that we could find here and there, painted it on some popsicle sticks, and then went down to took the closest ones and went down to the depot here in Durango and looked at them in the shade, looked at them in the sun, and finally decided, although some people think it's not a dark enough yellow, but ended up with the depot buff that True Color makes. And they make a whole line of prototype colors and for various railroads and so on. But this was there. So I wanted to try it out. The second thing is this is as many new laser kits are, because they engrave so much detail into the siding and so forth, that for bracing, they're tending to build them around a core of thicker uh, laser board, fiber board. And so that's kind of what's seen here. And I made the yellow, I painted the siding and so forth with Minwax driftwood stain, and then did the yellow over it. And of course, yellow is a very hard color to cover, and I did want to brush it and show some weathering on it, so that's what I did. But I think the next one I'll try doing with an airbrush and see how it comes out. So anyway, it's a basic kind of structure, a rectangle with a shed on the back end. But these are pretty neat kits, because not only are they tab construction, but McCarville likes to engrave or burn in the roofing line, so it makes it a lot easier to install the roofing too. It's pretty straightforward. So anyway, that's kind of what the structure looks like. And then I ended up not taking any pictures for a while. And this is sort of near the completion of the structure. I found some different things. And yes, I did fix that pole that you see there on the left. The roofing comes with it. It's a pretty standard shingle kind of roof, probably from Best Trains. I don't think Mike cuts his own, but I think he outsources it. And a 3D printed chimney, and he's doing more 3D printing now. The tar on the roof is plasticine clay, which I tend to try and use because it's very good at gap filling, and I've readjusted it a little bit too since I took this picture. Craft paint for the red brick, and then the thing I tried this time, if you get into the scale modeling community, you'll see one of the big things when people are doing airplanes and tanks and stuff, but particularly airplanes, is they like to pre-shade their panels, the various metal panels in a wing or on the fuselage. And so there's a whole host of enamel panel liners, which are basically different colors. And this is a gray, and I just used it for the mortar on the chimney. This first time I'd tried that. And seemed to work pretty well because you just touch it with the little brush with the enamel, and capillary action outlines your bricks for you pretty well. And I thought that that had come out pretty well. And just another side, the roofing, as I say, is paper shingles. I tend to use transfer tape to apply as the adhesive for the roofing. And take note too that if you look at this window, you know, it's sort of with not only has a shade, but it looks black inside. You can't see through the building or into the building because it has no interior. And same with these windows. So I put a light in it, and the thing I was practicing with this is this Woodland Scenics light block kit. And so I just drilled in, put in an LED, and glued it in place. And so when the light is on, these are not great pictures because I wasn't paying attention to my phone's focus when I did it, but you get is this diffuse light. And the way that's done, you can see on the right hand where the white is, that's a very thin plastic, and in front of that is a darkened film, like exposed film used to be, but has a slight darkening to it, and then you're right behind your windows and your window shade to do that. And you can do a single window, you can do a whole wall because there were so many lights in that front wall. That's what I did with that. And then when you have it assembled and stuff, again, you can see the dark windows upstairs and downstairs with the light off. And yet you still get the glint off of the clear plastic that you put behind the windows to begin with when you're creating the windows on that. So this is coming along a little bit more. I've started adding some people to it to give it a little action on that. And of course, most of that will be hidden, but you know, it'll work out. And that's kind of that without the thing. Again, terrible focus. The planters here are craft beads from the bead store or Hobby Lobby or what have you. You can buy a bazillion of them in a single package and then pick out what you like, and then some Scenic Express ground foam for the plants. And I thought it came out fairly well on that. So this is a light block kit. It's sort of so-so, I think, but basically what comes with it is a very thick black paint, acrylic paint. I actually almost think that it's paint mixed with white glue. But then you can seal joints and see where you have issues. It also, for buildings that don't have a floor in them, is sort of a black adhesive tape that you can put on the bottom, and that'll help seal the bottom from the leaks. You know, the film, because the white thin plastic is probably 5 thousandths styrene or so forth, and you can just cut out the segments you need. And it doesn't show very well, but at the very top of that picture, you're actually looking through the black film, as it were. And you use those two things to make the sandwich, with the black against the window and then the white styrene behind it. And so the light then is diffused, as well as you get that when the window is black. So it comes. Well, I'll pull it up afterwards. It comes in a roll that you get from Woodland Scenics. It's a little difficult to manhandle because it wants to always roll up, but it gets there. And then they also provide these adhesive dots. You see those little dark spots along there. That's sort of, you can get at art stores all these little adhesive dots. It's a dry adhesive. You just stick them in. That's how I laminated these together. But you could also use some glue if you needed to. And so that's what I did with that. And then I see Ray isn't on today. He's probably shoveling snow because they have a symphony concert in Durango tonight to go to. But I still haven't finished the trim here. You can see with the slot and tab that there's still one piece of trim on the front that needs to go to hide the slot. But McCarville engineers these pretty well. And he has a whole variety of buildings. His most recent one is a paper corrugated Montezuma fruit company for Dolores. And he goes with the prototype pictures and is able to draw them out fairly well and engineer them. So they're quite nice kits and very prototypical. So I was going to say Ray isn't here, but if you're wondering what he's been doing, he and I have been working back in Ofriyet as well. We've moved some of the bench work around a little bit, so we have a little bit more room to work from and to make a pop-up if we care to here pretty soon. Ray's been planting the trees. I built those structures. My friend Helen Lumen painted the backdrop, including the Silver Bell mine there in the distance. So we've got the Ophir Merchandise Store, the Oilton Club, Mrs. Skillen's store, the tram house, and underneath it is the outhouse that goes with the depot. And in front of the general merchandise is a speeder shed that was there for a while. And then the house at the trestle, which at various times has been a home and a garage. Each of these things, interestingly, depending on when you catch a photograph or so forth, has had a variety of uses or locations. That general merchandise store in its early incarnation was this side of the track coming into town rather than where it is. And they actually moved it at some point. I know Sean has talked a lot when he's looked at the model of the Durango depot that he's been building for someone, that it seems to change every 6 months as to where the doors are and things like that. And so for practical purposes, that's been done. So that's pretty much it. The structures there are all Banta kits. But like the outhouse and the speeder shed, I think McCarville has picked up from Banta and will be reissuing those under Carvel Studios. Charlotte and I made the trees. So we're looking at mid-30s in the springtime at this point. So, questions?
Martin, that's looking awesome. Wow.
Yeah, it's coming along. I was trying to see. Well, let me get out of the screen share kind of thing. And I did want to say too, while I'm thinking of it, Sean, I sent your paperwork in for your golden spike almost a month ago. So it's probably going to be taken up at the February uh, time period when the national prints the certificates and so forth. So when I get it, I'll let you know.
Thanks,
But it,
Martin. That's
but
great.
it is in
Now, hold
progress.
on. I thought I saw that in the RMR, what do we call the RMR?
Oh, the NMRA
Re-
magazine.
the regional Rocky Mountain region call board. They announced
Okay,
Sean's,
it may be in there that they're ahead of
it's,
national always.
yeah,
So
I don't know about the national, but right. Uh, so yeah, congratulations, Sean.
Thanks. Thanks for doing that. That's great.
yeah, on that. So let's see if I had anything else I wanted to. Oh, a lot of the things too. I've been using the crafter's pick. I don't know if you can see that. I can't.
Here, hold on. So go ahead and turn off your screen share,
I
and then,
thought I did. Oh, I'm still sharing. My fault. My bad.
and then I'll spotlight you too.
Okay.
So hang on a second. Although I think when you talk on the recording, it'll. All right, go for it.
There. So this is the favorite glue now of Charlie Getz, but I've been using a bit more and more of it. It's basically a white glue, but it has incredible tack, and supposedly it is uh, waterproof once it's fully cured. It's a bit flexible though until then, but I've used it for a variety of things. And right most recently now, I've been trying it for gluing those things onto the porch, the little detail parts, and it does a really good job with that rather than some of the other adhesives. And then I guess to go with that porch, this guy, this is a cheap figure from someplace and in plastic. The key to all these scene master things and so forth is they put them on a plastic base, which is fine if you want little squares of plastic to show under the feet of your people. And so trimming them out from that is always a trick not to, so you don't cut them off at the ankles as things come apart. So anyway, he's in black primer right now, and then uh, when he's cured, I'm going to try dry brushing him with white and what the scale modelers call zenithal treatment. So basically, what it is it works better with obviously larger figures, and we'll see how it works in HO. But with the larger figures, you prime in black totally the whole figure, and then you take your white primer and come at it from just a single angle. And usually it's like from straight overhead down onto the figure. And so what that does then, where that paint goes, will show you where your highlights are. And of course, the black shows you your shadows. And then you can take your base coat of whatever you're going to paint with and use that, but you would know where the shadows and the highlights are. Obviously, in something this small, and this is something that the gentleman who has mini prints up in Canada does on his prints for his figures now. he does a dry brush with white, same way. But again, the idea is to make it easy to see where the highlights and shadows of your paints should go. So stay tuned. Maybe it'll come out. Maybe I won't ever mention it again. So that's it. I got nothing.
Got nothing. Boy, I think Martin, you could write a book on all these modeling techniques and probably sell pretty well.
These are all stolen from everybody else. None of this is mine.
Yeah, but it'd be all in one place.
It's a life wasted watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob. Sorry.